Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach. Technically this should be a screen capture because it's talking about a speech. I'm sure other people will cover the speech in depth, but I have a long drive to the doctor and I'm a little pissy because I had to go inside the McDonald's. Like the line was just too long. It was really weird. Like I never go inside restaurants. It also it also is a little traumatizing because I worked at McDonald's like right out of high school, and back then, like, it's so weird. At least in America, like, fast food work, like, people would just treat you like dog shit. I don't see the behavior that was considered normal back then, where you just yell at people and degrade them. It was like every single day. It was awful. But anyway, New York Comic Con is just starting right now. I guess they have a day that's just for retailers, and then like an early day, something like that. But it's, what is it, Thursday? So I think this is a regular day for regular tickets. But Jim Lee gave a speech, and it was transcribed in Comics Beat, and I'll get back to that one. But in the speech, he talks about things like, it's like, hey, it's very easy to be negative, but I want to be hopeful because, this is comics, and, negativity gets clicks, that type of thing. It's okay. All right, fine, fair enough. And then he starts talking about, like, oh, we haven't been to this convention in 12 years, but we're really trying to, be positive. We got all these things dealing with. And then he even talked about stuff like, they're going to lose, the copyright for, I would say, about half of their characters, most of their popular characters, within about a decade. So they're dealing with that. And he made a good point. He's like, interestingly enough, Eric Larson just got hired again at Marvel to write Spider. The Spider Detective from the 1920s or whatever, 1930s. And he freaking used, as soon as Disney lost the copyright on Mickey Mouse, he had Mickey Mouse attempting to sexually assault the Savage Dragon's girlfriend, wife, like repeatedly over multiple issues. And I was like, oh shit, George Lucas is going to sue somebody. I know George Lucas doesn't work there. That's a reference to Jay and Silent Bob. And nothing happened, and then they hired him like a year later, because it used to be that the copyright laws in America were very corrupt, in that every time Mickey Mouse got within 20 years of losing his copyright, all of a sudden the law would change, and it happened over and over and over again for decades. And finally, like the 1990s is the last time they stopped changing it. They changed it to like 95 years. But he made a great point. He's like, anyone can make a Superman story, but not anyone can understand Superman. We've been understanding him for, by that time, it'll be 95 years. It's like, that's a good point. Because we've already seen what they do. It's like, it's always like, Winnie the Pooh as a serial killer. Mickey Mouse sexually assaulting the Savage Dragon's wife. It's like, we get it. You can be a stupid, edgy asshole. But can you write these characters in character and make a good story? No, you can't. So I was like, that's actually a really, really good point. Then he starts talking about AI. I think it's what he did. Yeah, so he talked about the copyright not being there in 12 years. A couple other things, but he talked about AI a lot. And he gave a very good defense of not using AI. He's like, the thing about art is it's all the stutters, it's the splatters, it's the hesitation, it's the, quote, mistakes. I remember Will Portatio saying something in an interview once where he said, your style is just all of your mistakes put together. I always think about that. And he made and he's like, we don't use AI now, and we never will, as long as him and something like Susan Des Piez or something like that are in charge. And I was like, okay, cool. Here's the deal. Your speech has M dashes in it. And M dashes are a dead giveaway that someone used AI, at least partially. nobody uses M dashes in anything except for like printed work. You will see an M dash is that longer dash. There's lots of giveaways for using AI. One of them is having M dashes because people don't just use them because it's like an extra button you have to click on the keyboard. And it's fine. Just put this in parentheses or have this between ellipses. So anytime you see multiple uses of M dashes, they used AI 95% of the time. And also there's these kind of phrases that if you use AI a lot, you recognize the way AI writes, the rhythm it has. But he made a good defense to not use it. But I'm like, you use Microsoft Word, which is replacing a secretary. You use Photoshop, which replaces multiple people. I would say 2 to 4 people are replaced by the use of Photoshop, because there used to be bullpens for that type of stuff, and now there isn't. They have Image Comics will have staff, but their staff is just like production manager and the person who orders the paper. They're not doing paste ups. They're not doing any, Ramita's Raiders type of redrawing faces or fixing things. You're expected to deliver a finished comic, and they just put their logo on it, and they put the indicia on there, and then they print it and ship it. But so you are using a cell phone, which if you have ever watched Mad Men, there used to be in like every large office a room, usually windowless, where all women would be switchboard operators because that was something that had to be done. So everything you use replaces jobs. Often it replaces multiple jobs. That's one defense of AI, that it's not doing anything that every other technology hasn't done, which is create some jobs while destroying or replacing others. But here is what I would think is the main deal. He's talking about not using AI while he is late with his current run on Batman. What was supposed to be a major event that has completely fizzled out because he was only able to do a couple of monthly books in a row before having a very, very long gap that isn't over yet. There was some confusion when they relaunched Batman with that Matt Fraction writing it. They're like, wait, what about the Hush 2 with Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee? Oh, that's not done yet. Yeah, we issued a press release. Well, I didn't see that. It's kind of weird that you launched a new book when you haven't finished the old one. But Jim Lee is notoriously slow, and AI could have helped with that. Because at some point, being a comic book artist is just drawing a bunch of windows on the buildings in the back. It's drawing cars in perspective that look like they actually fit in the perspective of the scene. It's a lot of tedious work that AI could really, really help about. Here's another thing. Jim Lee has built most of his reputation off of 1987 to 1992, about 5 years, and about 40 years ago. And he's been coasting with subprime version of his best self. Now, occasionally you will see one of his very, 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 very expensive original art commissions, and he will really bring out all the stops. But we have been getting half-ass Jim Lee since about 1995. He uses assistants for art, for backgrounds, for inks. If you look at his current run of Hush, that's not Jim Lee. That's Jim Lee doing layouts and doing tight pencils on some things that he can sell for a lot. But it's, as they used to say back in the day, many hands. And one of his defenses of not using AI is that he was implying like AI is just perfect. AI does crazy ass shit, and that is, I would say, half the fun of it. AI will completely misunderstand what you say. AI will be lazy sometimes. AI will pretend not to know something it knows just to essentially save server capacity. AI is not human, but it was made by humans, and it oddly and kind of charmingly enough has a lot of our quirks and foibles. I also love it also lies all the time. And so I have been working with AI. It used to just be crap a couple years ago. Now I can get sometimes a really, really amazing piece of art, and I've shown it to people, and they have absolutely loved it. And nobody cares that a 60-year-old millionaire doesn't want to spend an afternoon drawing a bunch of windows. It's the rule of cool. If it looks cool, it rules. That's actually, I guess that's a new take on the rule of cool. But people don't really care. All these YouTubers a couple years ago, they were saying, no AI at any time, and they use it for thumbnails, and people love it. People love AI art. AI art is quirky and idiosyncratic and clearly of the same creator. You can tell, the different types of AI. There's a certain style. I noticed ChatGPT. They do these. What is that guy? He played Thanos. A lot of actors have very weird proportions. Like supposedly, I've heard that Ben Affleck in real life has a shockingly monstrous, massive head. I've heard it's the size of his rib cage. And sometimes you notice it, other times you're like, But anyway, it's that the guy who plays Thanos. He has these very particular, like, giant blocky head, but kind of stubby arms and legs. And that's what currently ChatGPT, the DALL-E plugin for it, DALL-E, that's the proportions. Like, I can recognize when somebody used DALL-E via ChatGPT because it always gives these kind of large head, stubby extremities proportions. That's a style. That's a style. I don't see other artists doing that. In fact, artists tend to do the opposite. Artists tend to draw heads proportionally a lot smaller than they are. Almost exclusively. Those are the heroic proportions. One of the reasons that Arnold was such a major success as a bodybuilder, as an action star, is he has these weird proportions that are not like regular human proportions, but they are action figure proportions. So he just looks great. Like, there will be people like, oh, look, this guy has better definition, this guy has better quads. Yep, he doesn't have that perfect action figure proportions that Arnold has. I would say Chris Bumstead is the closest to that. But if I start talking about him, I'll talk about how he ruined his hairline. They're going to Turkey, and they're giving every single person the same hairline. They are putting hair where there was never hair. So everyone has this soccer hooligan hairline, and it looks fucking ridiculous. Yeah, he used to have this M-shaped hairline, which is it's kind of like an action. It's like, Namor, or Ra's al Ghul. But anyway, don't get me started on this. But yeah, so Jim Lee's defense of not using AI would be a lot better if basically all the current circumstances. The other thing is, so they had that guy get busted for using AI. What was it, last year on a Batman book with Chip Zdarsky writing? Dude, every single day I'm seeing comic book art that is clearly using AI, clearly using 3D models. That's just the deal. You go back to the frickin' 1960s, Wally Wood is saying, like, don't draw something you can trace, don't trace something you can photocopy. I think that was Wally Wood. But they always just say, like, just cheat. I was watching, what was it, the Mr. Sunday Movies? Stupid name. Those two Australian guys. And they were talking about Tron. And thank God they actually admitted that it was boring as fuck. Because I always felt like I was taking crazy pills. Growing up and reading, like, Starlog, it's like saying Tron was a masterpiece. It is boring as fuck. It is groundbreaking in some of the technology and effects. supposedly, Tron was not up for special effects awards because it was considered cheating to use a computer. I remember when people used to say 3D animation was cheating because they thought the computer just did everything. They didn't know that humans are, setting all the keyframes and the weights on the rigging and all that type of stuff. And go back and watch Snow White, which apparently is a huge topic of conversation for middle-aged men. Go to the original Snow White and see how many people made that. And it will be like a couple dozen to 100 guys. Then go see the latest 3D animated movie, and it will literally be thousands of people. The use of AI is going to open up all kinds of opportunities. It's going to eliminate some jobs. It's going to create many more than it eliminates. And I think the only real thing is to just be honest about it, to have a little credit for what you use ChatGPT for. For instance, I just finished the galleys, the proofs of LAX, which means all the art is done. It's been lettered. There's just a couple little things like I have to do the indicia, but I sent it out to some friends last night, and I forget what my fucking point was. Oh yeah, it was, you need to be honest about what you use ChatGPT for. So I will say, like, originally I was going to have the DALL-E in ChatGPT. It was doing some nice takes on the cover. Like, the cover was made by humans, but there's a way that it's hard to describe, but AI art is really good at unifying things and making them look like they're all in the same space. Whereas a lot of digitally colored comics, they look like they look like what they are. That somebody used a paint bucket to drop in a bunch of colors, but the whole scene is not united in like one lighting scheme. And AI is like really, really good at that. So I did a couple passes on the human-made cover to get it more like unified, and it did pretty good, but it was always just screwing things up. And ultimately I just went with the human cover. So I don't have to, talk about that because that's just development stuff that never happened. But like for the interior, I would use AI for research about like Runyon Canyon, like name a place where people go running in LA, but it's also near some cliffs that have houses on them. So I'll say, like, I use ChatGPT for research. I know with the Jawbreakers contingency, there's a doctor character, so I was using it a lot so that the doctor would sound like a legitimate doctor. So I use it research, and so like I'll say like this was AI was used for research, or I'll say ChatGPT 5.0, and then for the Jawbreakers contingency, I'll say like ChatGPT 4.5 was used for medical research, some of which was used directly in dialogue. And I think that's the ethical way to use it. I don't buy the bullshit of like AI steals, it just copies human artists. That's what human artists do. Look at Brian Hitch. Look at Paul Pelletier. Look at freaking Bill Sienkiewicz. Sorry, it's getting really... I need to... Yeah, this is actually serious rain. Anyway, thanks for watching.